I never imagined the day would come when my own child would trap me in my own home. The sound of that lock snapping shut still rattles through me. One minute my husband and I were walking down the basement steps because our son claimed a pipe had burst. The next, the door slammed above us, and the bolt slid into place. I heard her footsteps first, my daughter-in-law light, almost excited. Then my son's heavier steps, unhurried, as if this was simply another chore. My breath caught in my throat, but my husband's firm hand landed on my arm. "Stay quiet," he whispered. "They don't know what's hidden back here." His voice wasn't shaken. It was steady, prepared. That frightened me more than the lock itself. Mothers remember strange things. I could still see my son wobbling during his first steps, crying after his first scraped knee, standing nervously at the altar the day he married her, the woman who hugged him with possessive arms, who smiled at me like she'd already measured the space I would someday leave behind. I tried to see the best in her, to believe that marriage and time would tame whatever ambitions sparkled behind her eyes. They lived under our roof without paying a single bill, without worry, without stress. We let it slide. We thought it was kindness. But kindness can be twisted. Little signs appeared first, whispers behind closed doors, important papers gone from drawers, my husband's medication arriving from a different pharmacy with no explanation. Every time I walked into a room, conversation halted like someone had slapped a switch. But the worst was the day I heard her laughing softly, saying, "Once they're out, everything becomes ours." Out! Not gone. Out! As if my husband and I were clutter to be pushed aside. Then came the document. My husband discovered it tucked among the mail. His name scratched out, a new power of attorney already filled in. With my son's signature bold and confident, he didn't even try to hide it. "Dad's getting older," he said. "You too. We're just handling things." Handling things by stealing our authority. Handling things by attempting to take the home we built with decades of sacrifices. I didn't shout. I didn't plead. I simply watched him leave, stunned by how familiar he looked and yet how much of a stranger he had become. When I told my husband that night, he didn't react with shock. He simply nodded. "I knew something like this might happen someday," he murmured. "I've been preparing." I didn't understand, not then. We kept pretending. We let them believe we were feeble, confused, easy to manipulate. We played the roles they assigned us. And they grew bolder. Greed always does. The moment their car finally pulled out of the driveway and the house fell silent, my husband knelt beside an old wall in the basement. His fingers searched the bricks with practiced ease, until one brick shifted loose. Behind it sat a steel lockbox, dusty but perfectly safe. Inside were the original property deeds, a valid will, accounts solely in our names, and a small voice recorder packed with weeks of recorded conversations. Every whisper, every scheme, every detail their plan to take over our home. "For nearly 4 decades," he said quietly, "I prepared for the day someone tried to steal everything from us. I just never thought it would be our son." My heart splintered at those words, but something inside me hardened too. We escaped through an old maintenance hatch they knew nothing about. By dawn, our lawyer had the evidence. By noon, the authorities had the documents. And by evening, our son still thought he had the upper hand. They walked back into the house laughing, completely sure of themselves, until they saw us sitting calmly in the living room. My daughter-in-law's smile vanished. My son froze. My husband slid the recorder across the table and pressed play. Their own voices filled the room, plotting, manipulating, arranging to push us out of our own lives. My son's face drained of color. Where did you get that?" he whispered. I met his eyes, not with anger, but with a clarity I didn't know I still had. "From the same wall you locked us behind." His wife sprinted toward the door the moment sirens echoed from the street. My son stayed still, staring at the carpet while the officers cuffed him, realizing too late that the person he'd become was unrecognizable, even to himself. The house is quiet now, peaceful but heavy. My husband sits beside me, his hand warm around mine. "We didn't lose a son," he said gently. "We uncovered the man he chose to be. Maybe he's right. Or maybe the real loss happened long before the basement door closed. Justice doesn't taste sweet. It doesn't taste bitter either. It's simply clean, like fresh air after storm. And as I close that basement door one last time, I whisper to the darkness he tried to bury us in. He finally learned who took his place in our lives. It wasn't anyone else. It was the truth.